warm welcome to our webinar on non-affected companies with beneficial ownership. We are so pleased you could join us on this chilly July morning. My name is Simon Fanyano from the Corporate Education and Compliance Unit, and I'll be your moderator today. I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague, Ms. Shani Kelly. This morning's sessions will follow in a slightly different format. We will be conducting a question and answer session presented in a slide format. If you have any questions that are not covered during the presentation, please feel free to post them in the comments section. Kindly ensure that your questions are relevant to the topic of non-affected companies. So without a waste of time, and then let's just dive into our presentation today. Shani, good morning.
Good morning, Simon.
The first question, Shani, is who really owns the business when we talk about this beneficial ownership?
So, beneficial ownership is not just about a name on a paper, but rather about a beneficial owners behind the scene. These are people who truly control the business and benefits from its profits.
The second question, Shani, is who can be declared as a beneficial owner?
Okay, now that is not just simple one-word answer. We have our majority shareholders. These are people that own a large portion of the company, even though another company or trust. Ultimately, it's decision makers, people who control the company's action, even though they are not directors. The third option is the trust beneficiaries. These are people who benefit from a trust but owns the company. And the last one is the silent partners. These are investors that are not publicly involved but still profit from the business.
Thank you very much, Shani. When it comes to annual beneficial filing, when must it filed?
Okay. I think to simplify that question, it will be, do you still need to file your BO information if nothing changed during the year? Business must file BO information every year, whether there are changes or not. Yearly BO updates help us as CIBC to confirm that the BO details are still valid. Beneficial ownerships must be submitted before you file your annual returns.
So, Shani, what are the three categories of companies when it comes to beneficial ownership?
Okay, the three categories we have are affected companies, non-affected companies with BO, and non-affected companies without BO. Affected companies, whether an affected company has BO to be declared or not, it still is required to upload the mandatory supporting documentation. However, no BO information is submitted in the online filing for affected companies. The non-affected companies with BO, these companies are not classified as affected companies and have beneficial ownerships to declare. Standard BO register requirements applies for these companies. Non-affected companies without BO. These companies are not classified as affected companies and have no beneficial owners. Mandatory documentation must be uploaded.
Thank you very much, Shani. Now, which categories applies to my company? That's the first question. And then the second one, it would be how can I ascertain whether my company has beneficial ownership to declare. So the question here, the first one is around that which category applies to my company.
Okay. Affected company, the definition that applies to an affected company. I have given you a short checklist to establish whether your company is an affected company or a non-affected company. For any of these questions that's on my checklist, you can answer yes or no. So this is a checklist that you need to do yourself. Or answer to this checklist you need to do yourself. Is the company a public company? Is the company a state-owned company? Did the private company transfer more than 10% of its securities within the 24 months before the declaration? The next question is the private company majority owned or controlled by an affected company? Last question is the private company a subsidiary of an affected company? The declaring company is an affected company if the answer to any of the preceding questions is yes. So any of the questions that I've given you in the checklist, if your answer is yes, then it is an affected company. However, if any of the answers to the above question is no, then your company is a non-affected company.
So, and then my second question is that how to ascertain whether a non-affected company has beneficial ownership to declare.
Okay. For this, I've also done a checklist to determine if the company has any beneficial owners. You need to also answer yes and no to the next checklist. Does a person hold securities for the beneficial interest of another natural person? Is there a person who exercises or has control over more than 5% of the voting rights in the company? The third question is a person with the right to appoint and remove directors of the company? Last question is there a person or persons that have the ability to materially influence the management of the declaring company? If any
Shana, I think this question is just a follow-up or a continuation of the question that you just answered now. If you check on these slides, is continuation of the how to ascertain whether a non-affected company has beneficial ownership to declare. If you can just give clarity on that.
Okay, so any of the questions that I have asked on my previous slide, if any of your answers are yes, it will indicate that your company is a non-affected company with beneficial ownership. And if your answers are no to any of the questions, then you are a non-affected company without beneficial ownership. Do you understand that, Simon? Am I clarifying it correctly?
Yes, and thank you very much for clarity. And then the next question, Shani, is the which documents are required to be filed?
Okay, so for non-affected company with beneficial ownerships to declare, the beneficial owner must be declared. Okay, that's the first point. Next, a mandate, which is a declaration. The mandate must be signed by 50% plus one of the company directors or 100% of the members if it's a CC. A certified ID copy of the filer. In the case of a complex ownership structure, the documentation must include a disclosure form. It is mandatory for a company to file a securities register and a CC to file a members register. NPCs without members must file a list of directors.
Thank you, Shani. May you please just take us, I see some of them, I think it's just around the mandate. What is the mandate, this or declaration?
Okay, I have put an example on the screen for a mandate. It is a compulsory document wherein the declaring company instructs the filer, who's a natural person, to submit its beneficial ownership's declaration on behalf of the company. Now, the contents of your mandate will be a mandate must be must be in a form of a letter, resolution, a power of attorney on a declaring company's letterhead. However, you do not need to have a logo of your company. The mandate is given to an individual, that's a natural person, and it must be signed by 50% plus one of the company directors, and with the CC, it must be all the members. I have given an example on my right hand side of how a mandate should look.
Thank you, Shani. What are the requirements for document certification when it comes
Oh,
to beneficial ownership?
okay. We have stated the requirements in our practice note 2 of 2022. Certification of documentation, including ID copies, must be filed with the CIPC, and certification must not be older than 3 calendar months. Only one ID or passport may appear on a single page. And in the case of when you use your ID card, both sides of the card must be scanned and then scanned on the same single page. So you please do not scan your ID card on 2 separate pages. Put it on one page and have it certified. Only valid issued passports will be accepted by the CIPC. No asylum seekers or temporary residence documents will be accepted as the valid confirmation of identity. And on the next slide, I will explain the Commissioner of Oaths.
Shani, yeah, I think this one is just also a follow-up on a question that you just, answered. What are the certification requirements for South African documents?
Okay. CIPC will only accept documents that have been commissioned by the Commissioner of Oaths in South Africa. The following information of the Commissioner of Oaths must appear on documents: the full name and surname of the person, their business address, the signature, the designation of the commissioner, and documents certified by the police official also needs to indicate the person's rank number, and the date of certification. The above information is required to ensure that the Commissioner of Oaths is traceable for accountability purpose.
So what are the certification requirements for international documents in terms of practice notes number 2 of 2022?
If a person is based in another country and has to file documents with the CIPC, a certificate of authentication needs to be accompanied to the document to confirm its authenticity. A notary public is an internationally recognized form of a certification or affirmation of documents, and the CIPC will accept both the South African and the International Notary Public certification. A notary public certified document must be accompanied by a notary public certification sealed and or a certificate. I hope I explained that correct, simplified for you, Simon.
Thanks, Shani. The next question is, where can I find details and instructions for filing a beneficial ownership?
Okay, you can find it on our CIPC website. Remember, the CIPC website address is www.cipc.co.za. You will find the notices, the frequently asked questions, and the step-by-step guide. Please refer to the legislative definition of beneficial ownership and affected companies, as well as the CIPC's step-by-step user guides, both of which provide a detailed breakdown of each type of company. These will guide you on the required information to be filed. Take note that each company type has its own required documentation to uphold. On our step-by-step guide link, which is on the screen at the moment, our guides will consist of our BO, technical troubleshooting frequently asked questions. We have our step-by-step guides. That's our e-service beneficial ownership filing. This is for effective company and non-effective company with beneficial ownership. We also have non-affected companies without beneficial ownership. So you see, we have a variety of step-by-step guides to assist you with the beneficial ownership. We have our step-by-step guide to assist you with the complex structures, juristic persons and trust. We have a step-by-step guide for the mandate, the beneficial interest register, the security registers content, and the securities registers template as well. So we have all our information available for our CIPC clients.
Thank you very much, Shani. That brings us to the end of our session. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for your time and attention today. We hope you found the webinar informative and that it helped clarify the beneficial ownership requirements for non-affected companies. Enjoy the rest of your day and goodbye.
Thank you, Simon. Goodbye, people.